Alright, we got a special song for to start this week's DylanLasagna Live. It's I know it's like sings with like it references the cowboy like Dallas Cowboys and stuff, but this is more directed like I'm directing this song towards the WWE because this is how I feel about them right now. So I'm gonna play it right here. Just because I don't have like an encoder or something, I have to play it through my phone. So here we go.
Mediocre team and Big D. That's what makes this funny.
Some way, somehow, they will always find a way to let you down. The accident. Wait, the accident waiting to happen. Are you kidding me? That's funny. I should have came up with lyrics for this. The accident. Black cat running around the WWE. The accident. Just wait. The accident. WWE. Just wait. The accident waiting to happen. What? How about WWE? I can't rap for shit. What's going on, everybody? It is DylanLasagna here. Welcome to episode number 8 of DylanLasagna Live. 8 episodes already, man. And we're like, it's been what, a month now since we've been doing this. And man, this is crazy. And I hope you enjoyed that, or cringed through that, yes, that very cringy intro of this today's episode. There's a lot to talk about today. It's a very packed episode. So pretty much what we're gonna be going over today. Like briefly, I just want to go over like the My Little Pony videos again. It's just like a post like update on like that video I posted on like saying goodbye to the MLP videos on this channel. So I'll be doing like an update on that. And then we're gonna be looking at WWE Stomping Grounds, the pay-per-view WWE had on last Sunday in the Tacoma Dome in Washington. Then we'll be like giving my reactions to Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live following the pay-per-view. Plus, we'll also be taking a brief preview of Fyter Fest. Why brief? Because I honestly don't have too many expectations for Fyter Fest. Plus, I don't know the majority of the people involved in the card aside from Jon Moxley, aka Dean Ambrose. And then last to end things off, we're gonna look at the comments and Twitter war Seth Rollins has been having with various people, on Twitter. But before I do that, I'm gonna close my window. So I'll be right back. Because even though it's hot here in California, I can't have my window open. Okay, so actually before I want to I don't know, should I do this now or should I do this at the end of the show? I mean, I had this like thing I wanted to talk about at the very beginning before I talk about Stomping Grounds, but I don't know. I guess I'll talk about it now. So I guess this is a sad way to start off the show. Last week I talked about Etika to close off the last week's episode. For those of you who don't know Etika, like I don't know who Etika is. He was this Nintendo streamer who streamed all the Nintendo Directs. That's pretty much what I knew him for because of all the memes that people did of his Nintendo Direct reactions or overreactions. You'd be like, "Oh my god!" I saw a lot of those memes online, especially the one where he reacted to the Super Smash Bros. Like the Ultimate reveal. That was like one of the funniest ones I saw of him. But like he's been battling. He was battling mental health issues, and he's gotten into a variety of incidents over the past several months. I think like one of the latest instances was he got swatted and he was like on an Instagram live stream. He was like detained by like police and sent to a medical facility, but he got ousted very quickly. And then lately, last Wednesday, he posted an apology video saying that he was sorry for betraying everyone's trust, and now it's his turn to go. Pretty much like I said last week, the description was of that video was very disturbing. It was like a suicide note, and unfortunately, that's what it turned out to be. So a lot of you know it by now, but for those of you who don't, we unfortunately lost Etika. It was officially confirmed on Tuesday that Etika, they found Etika's body in the river, in the East River of New York, next to Pier 16, I believe, and they couldn't they couldn't revive him by the time they got him. He was gone. Like I said, I didn't know him that at all, but that's just besides the point. It's mental health is very serious. People, it's sad that people, a lot of people, brush it off. I mean, I've been battling through mental health, depression and attention deficit, or a variety of mental health disorders or illnesses. But it's yet everyone just keeps saying, be positive, be positive, be positive. But there's so much that you can do to be positive, and yet it's there's also so much you can do to overcome these illnesses. I mean, yes, you can get all the help you can get, but it's I don't know. It's I'm not the not the best person to give advice to, but there's so much you can do to stay positive. I just don't have the words for this. I just want to say that I heard from a lot of YouTubers that there are a lot of Etika memes being made, some of which were making fun of him having a mental illness, which is something that you should never do. Because it's not funny. It's it may be funny to a few people, but it's a very serious issue to others. So for those of you that made those memes, it's I hope you're happy with yourselves. You should really be ashamed. But you because a lot of people lost a very special friend in Etika, and I had hope that he would do the best he could to fight these mental illnesses and whatever he was battling through. And whether he did or not is a different subject. The fact of the matter is that mental health is just very serious, like as common diseases, but the whole world still thinks otherwise. So moving forward, I just hope that after the fact that Etika would like do this, like the way Etika went out, it's just, I hope many people take mental health very seriously. So at this point, we have to remember Etika for all the positive and happy memories, and not so much for how he passed, and like the last several months. So I think it's best to remember all the. Of course, we can't forget what happened, but it's more so we remember Etika's happiest times. And I know a lot of his friends, his families, and the peers that he met online through YouTube, Twitch, or whatever social media platform. And they're hurt. They're hurt by this news, but he still holds a very special place in your heart and in everyone's heart, and the memories will live on forever. Joy-Con boys forever. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say about the Etika situation. I know I don't really have the right words for it, but I just hope that the mental health issues moving forward get taken very seriously, because it's time for people to stop brushing it off as, oh, you just need to stay positive. But it's like, what if there's something much deeper inside that you can't control, or that someone else can't control? But that's all I have to say about that. Moving forward, let's now talk about the main meat of this of today's episode, which is WWE, because last Sunday they had Stomping Grounds, then there was Monday Night Raw and Smackdown Live. But let's first talk about the pay-per-view. I honestly had very low expectations. I honestly thought Stomping Grounds was more so of stomping into turd, stomping shit, because that's how I felt going into this pay-per-view. WWE is gonna stomp my interest away. They're gonna be, as the thumbnail you will see later, it would suggest they are an accident waiting to happen, as my boy Stephen A. Smith would like to say. But honestly, this was actually a pretty surprising pay-per-view. Like, it was pretty solid, and that started with the pre-show. It involved the Cruiserweight Champion Tony Nese defending the title against Drew Gulak, the no longer Teacher Boy, and Akira Tozawa. Again, I don't watch 205 Live because I'm a broke mofo that can't afford the pay-per-view for some reason at this age. And yeah, last time I saw Drew Gulak, he was presenting a PowerPoint presentation as if I was in school when I had school that day. But as the commentator stated, it was a different Drew Gulak that no longer did the PowerPoints and focused on the wrestling, which I guess is fine. But it was a pretty fun match. I really liked this match. There was a lot. Not only was there a lot of high flying spots from both Tozawa and Nese, but Drew Gulak like teased a lot. He tried to go for the submissions, like the Gulak. He also tried to he avoided a lot of the high flying spots, some of them at least. And there were a lot of near falls. Like everyone in the crowd was like, they slowly got convinced into like getting into the match, and I like that. They were really into it, like halfway into it, like halfway into the end. So Drew Gulak won the match, and then with a torture rack neck breaker, and he became the cruiserweight champ. I was like, wow, the WWE professor, the PowerPoint dude, became the cruiserweight champ. I was like, wow, that's a surprise, from presenting how to make 205 Live better to now becoming the cruiserweight champ. I'm like, holy crap, that's insane. Now we get to the main show opener between Becky Lynch and Lacey Evans, and honest to God, this match was not too much better, but it was very little better than the one at Money in the Bank. But can we please stop having Lacey Evans in high-profile matches? It's like she's not really ready to be there. I feel like they should have had her feud with someone like Natalya first, so she can like get some experience. But I don't know why they completely rushed her into Becky Lynch, thinking, oh, she's Becky Lynch. She's the stale, repetitive man that she is. Like, I can work off of her and get some experience firsthand. Like, that's not how it works. It's like, you have to build yourself up first. And then, once you're ready, after a couple of feuds, then you go after the man. But, nah, WWE still wants us to believe that Lacey Evans is a main event player, when she clearly doesn't. I think at one point in that match, Lacey Evans was supposed to take a springboard dropkick, but she kept like moving away from it, and Becky was getting very upset. That's like, you need to get to this spot. You need to get to this spot so I can hit you with that dropkick. But it's like, nothing against Lacey, but it's like WWE keeps exposing her, like exposing her weaknesses more than her strengths. But anyway, I did like how Lacey Evans did hit a sliced bread stunner, but it was like all for naught when she like instantly tapped out to the disarmor. And like as soon as Becky Lynch hit the disarmor, it was like Lacey Evans pussied out and like tapped like right away. It was like, ow, my arm! I tapped out in like 1 millisecond. It was like as soon as I got it locked in, it's like, ow, my arm, my lady arm. It was like, wow, okay, what a wuss. So pretty much, yeah, Becky won the match, and honestly, I'm getting tired of the man gimmick. It's like Becky has seriously cooled off since WrestleMania. It's like she gets some cheers, but it's like the momentum has seriously cooled off. It's like even before WrestleMania, I was tired of the man, because it's like, oh, I'm the man, I can do whatever I want. It's like, it's so unoriginal. It's very unoriginal, and plus, not only that, is like she's like copying Steve Austin. She's copying Edge. She's copying so many different like wrestlers, like personas. It's like, it's repetitive. It's stale. It's like she's not original. Like the man gimmick is not original. But it's like I keep saying, you want to be the man? Look at Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is the real man. Anyway, Paul Heyman, after that match, Paul Heyman was backstage. He teased Brock Lesnar could cash in at the pay-per-view on either Seth Rollins or Kofi Kingston. But then he left, and then after Paul Heyman left, Baron Corbin was interviewed, being asked like who would be the special guest referee. But then Baron Corbin, like in typical heel fashion, would explain that the referee he chose the referee, but it would be one that is unbiased, bullshit, and one that fair, bullshit, and one that he doesn't need his help, bullshit. That's completely bullshit. Next we had the New Day versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. This match was I thought this was one of my matches of the night. It's like it was a debate between this match and one of the matches I'm gonna get to, which was Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre. I'll explain why later. Because even before the match started, like people were trying to debate like who to root for, because there was one part of the crowd that was cheering for Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, and then obviously people cheering for the New Day. So, and then to start things off, KO and Sami took out Big E, and for most of the match they double teamed Xavier. They almost won immediately when they hit a pair of super kicks, and then Kevin Owens hit a frog splash, but Xavier Woods kicked out. And then Big E finally got in the match. And he went absolutely ham on Sami Zayn, and then he tried to go for like a splash, but then Zayn kicked out. And then I like this. This was my moment of the match when Xavier Woods like lifted Big E. Like, although like he tried to lift him at first, but then he was like, "Oh, I can't do it." But then he lifted Big E. He did like an electric chair, and then he lifted Big E forward, which resulted in a splash for a 2 count, which was pretty cool. It's like, damn, Xavier's strong, man. And then from the very end, it was all about tag team chemistry, which was really fun to see. And then, like, New Day tried to finish off Sami Zayn with the Midnight Hour, but like Zayn like hit Xavier Woods with a big boot when Zayn reversed it, and then Zayn and Owens like hit Xavier with the Haluva kick, Pop-Tart powerbomb combo, but Xavier Woods kicked out. And then Kevin Owens finally won the match when Big E sacrificed himself to spear Sami Zayn out of the ring. But then it was like Xavier Woods tried to go for like, I think it was an elbow drop, but then Kevin, like, because he was kind of slow in doing that, Kevin Owens like pushed him off the top rope, and then he hit the stunner to win. So it was a really fun match to watch, and I liked how everyone involved did a really good job working with each other. So they got a big win in Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. However, it all went to waste the next night on Raw. More on that later. Next, we had Samoa Joe versus Ricochet for the United States Championship. And then it was a tad bit slow to begin with, because Samoa Joe pretty much dominated the most of the match because he just reversed a lot of Ricochet's quickness with his power. And I think at one point in the match, like, I think it was near the end, like, Ricochet was trying to like get out of Samoa Joe had Ricochet's leg, and Ricochet tried to flip out of it, but like Samoa Joe flipped him, and then it slammed Ricochet to the ground. I was like, oh shit. But it's like Ricochet finally got hot, and he hit all these flips on Samoa Joe. But it's like Samoa Joe like shut it down like right away with a power slam and a clothesline. And then Joe tried to go for a coquina clutch, but Ricochet like used the turnbuckle to get out of it. And then after he reversed it, and after Joe hit a clothesline, like Ricochet got up immediately, and he hit like the code breaker. I guess that's part of his arsenal now, but they obviously don't call it the code breaker because, you know, that's Chris Jericho's move. And then he hit the 630 to surprisingly win the United States Championship. Like, I didn't expect him to win it on the first try, but I mean, Samoa Joe always loses the United States title anyway. And so Ricochet's the United States champion, so kudos to him. And then later on in the night, like, I mean, after he got congratulated by everyone, including Triple H, he was having his photo shoot, and then here comes the Bullet Club, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, and AJ Styles. And then AJ Styles challenges him to a match the following night on Raw. I was like, already? It's like, man, this is going to be insane. Then we had, like, immediately after, like in between, like, Ricochet being congratulated by everybody. Like, in between Ricochet being congratulated by everybody, Heavy Machinery went out to compete for the SmackDown Women's. Oh, okay. The SmackDown Tag Team Championships against Daniel Bryan and Rowan. Daniel Bryan, by the way, was in his home state of Washington, so obviously he had home field, while Heavy Machinery was getting booed the hell out of the building. However, despite this, I liked Otis and Tucker here. It's like I didn't know who Heavy Machinery was, and I still don't know who they are. But they were like they're really impressive big man. It's like they may be like they pull off these impressive feats of strength, but they also do a lot more than that. It's like Tucker, like he went off the top rope and hit a splash on Rowan on the outside. It was like he sacrificed his body like that just to win a match. He's like, this dude got guts, man. And then it's like Otis like hit the worm on Daniel Bryan, and he also hulked up on Daniel Bryan's yes kicks. It was like, they're like a really good tag team, and like Daniel Bryan and Rowan won with the fruit roll up, and it's clear that they're likely gonna get another shot at the tag team titles, and who knows what will happen next. Let's see. Oh yeah, Bayley versus Alexa Bliss. This was an okay wrestling match. I mean, Bliss looked fine. Alexa Bliss looked fine for her like first like championship like level match in like since her various injuries. But this is more about like the storyline that was going on, because like if you don't know what's going on, Bayley has been more aggressive since winning the SmackDown Women's Championship. Like she's not like not as happy-go-lucky or like has like as soft, while Alexa Bliss is involved with a storyline with Nikki Cross, like how Nikki Cross is trying to be Alexa's friend, and I guess Alexa's still that persuasive and I guess like taking advantage of Nikki. But anyway, I guess I could say those two stories intertwined into this match. So the friendship of Alexa and Nikki came into play because near the end of the match, there's like Bayley's hit a suicide dive on Nikki Cross, only because Alexa Bliss pushed, like she was trying to recover, but then, like I guess she was fully recovered, but she pushed like Nikki into Bayley. It was like, wow, some friend. And then because you know how Nikki Cross is like kind of a psychopath like Edge is, she tried to get in the ring to get revenge on Bayley, which would have caused a disqualification anyway. She tried to get involved, attack Bayley, but it's like Bliss told her to get out. The referee tried to tell her to get out. She got out. Alexa hit Twisted Bliss, but Bayley gave her 2 knees to the ribs for her troubles, and a Bayley to belly to win the match and retain the title. It was funny after the match. I couldn't tell if Bayley was just showing off her aggressive persona, because she was like she was kind of pushing Nikki Cross, like as she was comforting Alexa. She was like, "What the fuck are you doing, man?" Or if she was like legitimately pissed, and like as she got out of the ring, she like the title was on the floor. I was like, oh. But nah, I think it's just part of her like aggressiveness now. But this was like pretty cool. Like this is pretty cool. I like the two stories in this match, and to be honest, like these are two of the only stories that are interesting right now. I mean, even if one of them is going to be pretty predictable. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. Honest, like I like the aggressive Bayley. Like she's like, I like how they're they're kind of booking Bayley now like as an aggressive champ, more so than the happy-go-lucky one, and like what they're doing with Alexa and Nikki. And to be honest, like Bayley's like the only credible champion right now. I mean, like that's not like, aside from Kofi Kingston, she's the only one that's like conservatively booked. Like she's booked like strong, like somewhat decently strong. Like they're keeping her character in check. They're like slowly improving her with each like match. So that's good for Bayley. Next we had Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre with Shane Old Crap. Yeah, Shane Old Crap was at ringside. And aside from like this match was like my top like competitor. This match was my top competitor for match of the night outside of the New Day versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. But I have to say that the constant interference of Shane McMahon is like, come on, dude, come on. Hold on, I'm trying to see the chat here. Is anyone in here anyway? Okay. Oh, Boss Wild's here. Oh, what's up, man? Alright, anyway. Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. This match was very physical. Smash Mouth wrestling. Is like, even though it was kind of slow, but it was like they were hitting a lot of hard moves, especially when Drew McIntyre hit a superplex on Roman Reigns. It was like, ouch. And I liked Drew McIntyre's offense here. He hit like this very like, I don't know if it was like an octopus stretch on Roman Reigns. And he also he also used a modified STF on him. And like Roman Reigns did his part too. He used like a different number of moves aside from his like usual offense. Like he also did that suicide dive again. Or like the over the top rope suicide dive. But despite all this, Shane McMahon, man. Shane freaking McMahon. It's like, when will he go away? It's like, it's like, with this thing with Shane McMahon, it's like, his interference at Stomping Grounds proves that we're gonna get at least another month with him, like going into Extreme Rules. It's like, well, yes, it is a heel's job to interfere, like a bad guy's job to interfere in a match. He did it so constantly. Not only that, it's like his continued presence on like TV continues to take away like time away from the wrestlers, and it's just like, again, it's more likely that they're gonna like give us another month of Shane Old Crap. And they continue to prove that on Raw and SmackDown. But again, more on that later. What happened about the weird thing about not getting WWE Live in the Pacific? Like, I mean, here in California? I don't know. Like, I think there's a bunch of different Pacifics here in the world. You might need to clarify on that, Boss Wild. It's like here in the like West Coast, like here in the Bay Area. Or like in the South, like Southern California, or because I'm here in the Bay. Oh, and like in the Bay. I mean, I guess if you're talking about like NXT Takeover, like that NXT Takeover event that was supposed to happen in San Jose. Yeah, they never fixed that. They still went to Saudi Arabia for that Blood Money event. Yeah, so that pretty much got canceled. The NXT Takeover event moved to the East Coast because yeah, they don't want it to come. They don't want Saudi Arabia that Saudi Arabia event to like be overshadowed by the NXT event. But plus, I guess they don't want some of the production crew to travel back to back, to the 2 nights in a row. I mean, but it is what it is. It's over with now. What I am looking forward to, like whenever they come to the Bay, is like when they come to the new Golden State Warriors Chase Center. Like I think that's gonna happen sometime in September, I believe, but that's not officially confirmed yet. I don't watch the UFC too much, but it's like I remember I used to watch it when Brock Lesnar was around. So moving forward with Kofi Kingston versus Dolph Ziggler. This one of the last 2 matches of the pay-per-view. This was pretty boring. I didn't like this match at all. It was like I would say this was even worse than the match they had at Stupid Slowdown. It's like Dolph Ziggler looked really disinterested in having this match. It was like there were a lot of like cage spots here and there, but they weren't really that interesting. The only thing that was interesting was the finish when Dolph Ziggler was that close to winning the WWE Championship, but Kofi took a suicide dive out of the cage door and won the match. And that was like the only interesting thing about that match. So I'm not gonna talk about that too much. But Kofi Kingston's still the WWE champ. Then we had the main event. And oh my god, this was literally an even bigger disappointment than I thought. Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin. And we didn't know who the referee was going to be. For some odd reason, I thought it was going to be Brock Lesnar. I thought the referee was going to be Brock Lesnar. Because, like Brock Lesnar can help Seth Rollins or Baron Corbin. Like, he can help either man retain or get the Universal Championship, and then he could cash in on the winner. Like, let me hit you with the briefcase, and then I'm gonna cash it, and as my noble duty, I will cash in on you and win the Universal Championship when you're tired. But I honestly didn't know why I thought it would be Brock Lesnar, because I don't know. I thought it would be pretty funny at the time, but no. Instead, what we did get instead was the cringy Southern Belle, Lacey Evans. More Lacey Evans when we clearly don't need any more. Like, for now at least. Renee Young put this like flat out correctly. This is stupid. This was really stupid. This was boring, and people were chanting CM Punk, AEW. It was really bad. And this is not on Seth Rollins. This was on, nor Baron Corbin for that matter. This is all on Vince. Why would you pick, of all people, Lacey Evans? Ugh. And not only that, it's Lacey slowed the whole thing down. It was with all the rule changes, with all I know as a heel referee you're supposed to be hella biased, but she did things very slowly. It was even on Corbin's side, he was let me just take my time in assisting you, Mr. Corbin. But then Becky Lynch came out finally, after 10 minutes of the cringe we had to sit through in the main event. What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah, it's we had to sit through 10 minutes of cringe until Becky Lynch finally showed up to beat the hell out of Lacey Evans, and then we got an actual official to officiate the match, which was by then a no disqualification match. And then Seth Rollins finally won with the turd stomp, and he's still the Universal Champion. I like the fact that they did like the twist with Lacey Evans and all that, because you can't hit a lady, but it's like, and also the fact that they did like the role reversal of the traditional damsel in distress, when like, for example, Seth Rollins saves Becky Lynch, but instead it's Becky Lynch saving Seth Rollins. It's like, whoa. But it's like the execution was all wrong here. And it was like, it took the whole wind out of the sail, and it practically forced down again that Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch are the power couple. It's like it makes them like really weak more than strong, because it's like they're supposed to be these badasses, especially Seth and Becky, because like they've been rampaging through WWE for like months on end before they won the Universal Championship. I mean, at least Becky, for that matter. But then it's like they got so soft, like especially now when they're recognized as both an on-screen and off-screen couple. It's like what can go wrong will go wrong. It's like an accident waiting to happen. But overall, I mean, Stomping Grounds was still an overall solid show aside from the last two matches. I mean, it didn't completely suck, nor wasn't spectacular by any means. It was a middle of the road show. Other than that, it's like, yeah, it was just it was just a nice show. But like I said, what can go wrong will go wrong, because that's exactly what happened over the next 2 days on Raw and Smackdown. Because Monday night, it went back to the status quo right away. Just when we thought things would slowly get back on track, nope. WWE continues to wipe their ass on our face. Thanks to Monday Night Raw with the cold open. Not really a cold open, but it's just the horrible open. The cringeworthy open. Seth Rollins came out to address Baron Corbin, which, in my opinion, thought it was all over with. But, I mean, if I was smarter enough than this, it clearly wasn't. He was about to talk about Baron Corbin, but Becky Lynch interrupted him, and we're gonna get more cringe because it's so it feels forced when like they're out there as a couple, and it's like they talked about how Baron Corbin's plan to use Lacey Evans as a special ref so he can get the Universal title, their plan failed. So they talked about that a little bit, and she talked the stale repetitive man talked about how the stale repetitive man comes around to kick your arse, Lacey Evans. So that's pretty much what happens, even as a special guest referee. So after that, Baron Corbin interrupts, or so we thought. Lacey Evans actually comes from behind and like attacks Becky, but it's like Becky like immediately gets the upper hand, and it's just like Seth gets in the way, but Becky pushes him out of the way, not hard, but she's like, get out of my way, and Seth was like, all right, whatever, don't be a buster. And then Becky continues to beat the shit out of Lacey, and here comes Baron Corbin to try to get down on Seth Rollins, but it's like the baby faces beat down on the heels, and they sent them packing. Then Baron Corbin, like, the rest of the segment was pretty much a cringe fest, especially on Lacey Evans. Is like she's like the Molly Karam of this like whole thing. She was like, Baron Corbin was like, if it wasn't for you, Miss Man, I would be the Universal Champion. And Lacey Evans like, yeah, why don't you scurry on back, or something like that. It's like, she added practically nothing to that segment. She adds nothing. And then Baron Corbin was like, if I were to ever have a mixed tag team partner, it would be Lacey Evans. And then we all know where this was going. A mixed tag team match at Extreme Rules was made between Baron Corbin, Lacey Evans, and Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. However, both teams decided to raise the stakes. Becky Lynch decided to make it like a last chance match, meaning that like she like pretty much went on this ramble that, oh, if you don't beat us this time, you'll never get another chance at us. So yeah, it was just a long ass spiel about how if you can't beat us, like you can never face it. You can't face us again. So it's pretty much she put in a last chance stipulation, and then Baron Corbin like upped the ante by having them put the Raw Women's Championship and the Universal Championship in there as well. So pretty much that was the first Extreme Rules match for the pay-per-view, and we get another month of this. We get another month of Baron Corbin. We've been getting another month of Baron Corbin's like mega push when he needs to go back to Chili's and serve food there, and I don't like Lacey Evans. Like another month of like green ass Lacey Evans. If I was WWE, if I was whoever's writing that show, put a damn stipulation on that match, because I cannot sit through a regular tag team match. And I'm gonna review the card so far later. The entire Extreme Rules card does not look extreme at all. Like, if it's not gonna have any stipulations at all, why name it Extreme Rules? Like it's not only Corbin and Evans, it's like, again, Becky Lynch's man gimmick. It's so like stale now. It's like nothing compared to like what it was before. It's like it's too soft. It's just as weak as Seth Rollins' like character. Seth is pretty much as soft as he was back at TLC, like character wise, when he was facing Dean Ambrose. And I'm tired of WWE acknowledging their relationship as hard as John Cena and Nikki Bella's like past relationship. I just hope it doesn't go the route of, oh, Seth Rollins is like, will you marry me? And then it's like Becky Lynch is like, oh yay! And then a month later they break up. It's like the marriage is off. Which is unfortunate. So hopefully that doesn't happen. And it's like I want them to stop acknowledging it. It's cringy. And I'll be right back because the dinner is ready. What's for dinner, you all may be asking? Well, it's chicken Alfredo tonight. But anyway, back to the show. I probably have to go downstairs to cook another batch of garlic bread. But anyway, we had the New Day and the Usos versus the tag team champions of both brands, Raw tag champs, the Revival, and SmackDown champs, Daniel Bryan and Rowan. Honestly, I didn't find the need for like the New Day or the Daniel Bryan and Rowan in this match, other than just to add like some flavor in the Usos and the Revival's rivalry. But because that was pretty much all the match became about after both New Day and Daniel Bryan and Rowan got eliminated. So yeah, that was pretty much all it was, and I don't have any more thoughts about that. Then we had Miz TV with R-Truth, Carmella, and Drake Maverick. So R-Truth was obviously paranoid because like he has the 24/7 title, which in my opinion is fine on social media, but it's not so great on TV. But nonetheless, Miz questioned how Truth recently got the 24/7 title back. Drake pinning Drake Maverick at his actual wedding, and it's funny how Drake Maverick actually approved that, and so for him and his actual wife to approve that takes balls, and I applaud them for that. So, Truth got the support of the WWE fans, and somewhat, I don't know if The Miz actually supported that, but probably not. But, anyway, he pretty much, talked about how he, ever since he got the 48/7 European title back, that's what he likes to call it, he can't do things, without, knowing that no one's around him, and that superstars are not chasing him. One time he mentioned that the police came to his house or his crib to tell, because of a disturbance complaint. He was playing music too loud. And then here comes Drake Maverick to bitch and complain about how Truth ruined his marriage, and the fact that his wife won't go on their honeymoon or consummate the marriage. In other words, fuck. For the first time. And obviously Truth had to get a constipation joke in there. And the crowd actually started chanting constipation. And Vince was laughing his ass off on that. So, Drake wanted a one-on-one match with no, stipulations, no 24/7 rules, no bullshit. And it's I keep losing my train of thought here. He wanted to win the love of his wife back, love of his life back, which was not his wife. Damn, you must be a real man. He wanted to win back the 24/7 title. Truth accepted the challenge, and Miz got the word from WWE officials that no one was allowed to interfere. The 24/7 title rule, the actual 24/7 title rules, would be suspended. And Truth, during that match, won right away with the lie detector or whatever, the pay dirt, and he won the match. But him and Carmella had to run away immediately because after the match, the 24/7 rules went back into effect. And then, after they all ran away, Drake Maverick, he was trying to get interviewed by Charlie, and then she couldn't get an answer from him because he was just so depressed because he didn't win his baby, and he just left. So next up, we had Roman Reigns versus Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre in a 2-on-1 tornado handicap match. And it was just pretty much Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre destroying Roman Reigns from the beginning, and it's kind of fine with Roman not beating the holy crap out of them at once. But I still don't like how Shane's like being like how Shane is somehow on like magical steroids and like pulling off all these like spectacular moves at his age. But I don't know. So pretty much this went as expected. Roman Reigns got his ass beat. However, what I didn't expect was The Undertaker. The Undertaker showing up, beating the crap out of Shane McMahon, who got his ass chokeslammed. Drew McIntyre got sent packing. And now we have a tag team match at Extreme Rules with the team of Roman Reigns and The Undertaker, who were both WrestleMania rivals back at WrestleMania 33, going up against Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre. So like I said earlier, we're going to get one more month of Shane old crap. And Drew McIntyre continues to get buried even deeper into the grave. No pun intended. Because WWE just doesn't want to give up on the Shane old crap push. To be honest, I thought it was going to be like Bray Wyatt when the lights went out. But it's like, they didn't have a Firefly Funhouse segment this week, and I guess they're still trying to like find the right feud for Bray. So maybe they're saving his like return for SummerSlam, I guess. But it's like, I just don't understand why Undertaker's coming like helping Roman Reigns. It's like, I guess it's because Drew has an old guy, like Drew McIntyre has an old guy, so Roman Reigns needs an old guy to help him. It's like, yeah, it's like old and young guy versus old and young guy. There we go. Now the odds are even. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. It's like, plus the last match The Undertaker was in, which was not too long ago against Goldberg at Stupid Slowdown, was stupid. It was bad. It was terrible. It was worse than everyone expected, which was pretty bad. And it proved that they both need, like, both Goldberg and Undertaker needed to retire. Like, to not, like, it's not that they're past their primes. It's just, like, they're gonna hurt their legacies by continuing to wrestle. And worse, hurt, like, themselves, like, physically if they continue to wrestle. But I don't know. Vince still thinks it's a good idea to have, like, people like Shane and The Undertaker wrestle at their age. But I don't know. When they're like clearly can't. Like, they clearly can't anymore. So next we had a tug of war between Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman. Thank you. Next, War Raiders versus Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. So pretty much Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson have been losing matches lately. I mean, I don't know how many because I haven't been keeping up with the product. So because I guess it's because like they haven't been like focused or serious towards their opponents, which angered the recently returned AJ Styles. So this, in the latest instance of angering AJ Styles, was when Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson were partying with No Way Jose during his Styles interview about Ricochet, his main event match. So confident that they could defeat the Viking Raiders, who haven't been on TV, by the way, they went out, had a nice match. They hit the boot of doom on Eric, one of the Viking Raiders, by the way. They had a near fall, but they got cocky after that. It's like they tried the too sweet, sending a message to AJ, "Hey AJ, look what we can do." But they got cocky, and the War Raiders got back into the match, and they hit the Viking Experience on Anderson because they got cocky, and the Viking Raiders won the match. And then we had another 24/7 segment between what was supposed to be Mojo Rawley versus Heath Slater, the bathroom segment of the show. but pretty much every Monday night's just a bathroom, like 3-hour long bathroom segment. Mojo Rawley versus Heath Slater was supposed to happen, but R-Truth interrupted the match before it even happened because he was still being chased by like various wrestlers. It's like, where else in the arena like do you have to run around? Like, there's inside, outside, like around Washington. It's like, how fast can you get back in the ring? Like, R-Truth tried to leave, but then like Heath Slater, like a bunch of title changes happened actually. Heath Slater like pinned R-Truth, then it was R-Truth then got it back from Heath Slater, but then it was Cedric Alexander, then it was EC3, and then it was R-Truth. So he became a 9-time champion by the end of the night. It was like, he's gonna beat Rhino at this rate. If it's like, god damn. Then we had WWE Champion Kofi Kingston going up against Sami Zayn. It's like, why did this have to happen? It's like, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens got a big win here. But it's like, Sami Zayn immediately lost to Kofi Kingston via the fruit roll-up. Kevin Owens then challenged Kofi Kingston to a match. He wanted to prove that he can beat him, but then he lost too. Because via count out, because he got hit hard on the with the SOS outside. So Kofi won, but then the real like caveat here was Samoa Joe attacking Kofi after the match. Like, he hit him with the Uranagi, and then he locked him into the Coquina clutch. And now they have a match at Extreme Rules. But I don't think Joe will win because he's had a history of failing in big matches. He always loses. Like, just look at how he's been doing with the United States Championship. He always loses in big matches. So, but I mean, even though he loses big matches, he's probably gonna have a really good match with Kofi Kingston. And then Alexa Bliss versus Naomi. This is before the main event between Ricochet and AJ Styles. Early in the night, Alexa blamed Nikki Cross's distraction, who apologized to Alexa. She blamed the distraction on Bayley's tactic for manipulating people. Alexa, come on, you can do better than that. It's like you manipulate people all the time, man. So they came up with a plan. They tried to come up with a plan to get a rematch with Bayley. So Nikki Cross went to Natalya and Naomi, who tried to convince Nikki that Alexa Bliss is just using her for her own gain. But Alexa came in and told Naomi she's going to kick her ass in the ring, which she did very quickly. And then she proceeded to kick her ass more after the match, which led to a tag team match between Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, and Naomi against Naomi and Natalya. So, pretty much, I didn't care for the match. Pretty much the only caveat here was Nikki Cross hit her finisher. She had the match won, but she wasn't the legal woman in the ring because Alexa Bliss blind tagged her, and once she hit that finisher, Alexa Bliss timely stole the win from her, and they won the match. To be honest, I'm hopeful that they stay as a tag team. They're probably gonna Nikki's or Alexa's they're gonna turn on one another, and I just hope they stretch it out a little bit longer, so they can stay as a tag team for a little bit longer, so they can try to dethrone the Moronics as tag team champions, so they can at least do something with the belts. But hopefully it doesn't end with the predictability of Alexa Bliss turning on Nikki Cross or the other way around. Then we had our main event of the night, Ricochet going up against AJ Styles. This is a really fun main event. Before the I think it was before the actual start, the actual restart of the match. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson were at ringside, but then AJ Styles did not want them there because he wanted a fair fight against Ricochet. And then after that, it was just a really fun match after that. AJ Styles looked rusty because he was off from injury. It was just a minor injury after Money in the Bank. But he was starting to pick it up afterwards. So AJ Styles won with the phenomenal forearm after he escaped the 630 from Ricochet. And yeah, AJ Styles seems to be getting a title match, a US title match against Ricochet. I don't know. It just kind of sucks that Ricochet lost this early. He didn't even get a couple of wins. But I mean, at the same time, AJ Styles just got back too. This is his first match since injury, and it's you had to take it one or two ways, But overall, this is a show. This is a show. The story, the Alexa Bliss Nikki Cross story it's picking up, and I like the main event. And I don't know, the Undertaker, man, really, the freaking Undertaker. It's I can't stand it. I really can't stand it. Then now let's move on to SmackDown Live. Man, we're an hour into this show, and there's like I said, there's really a lot to talk about. So we have SmackDown. Shane had a pre-taped promo to start the show. He was pissed because, he was salty because the Undertaker attacked him. The Undertaker foiled his plans of ending Roman Reigns for good. So he told people not to piss him off, and that's how the show starts. New Day kicked off the show, officially kicked off the show. Kofi was pissed too because of Samoa Joe, who, by the way, they still have a match at Extreme Rules. But Ziggler challenged Kofi to a 2 out of 3 falls match, and if Ziggler wins, he gets into the WWE title match between him and Samoa Joe, which would make it a triple threat. Then the first match of the show begins with the other 2/3 of the New Day, Xavier Woods and Big E, taking on Daniel Bryan and Rowan, which was a fine match. But I got a feel for Daniel Bryan because ever since he lost the WWE title, it's he hasn't been doing much. It's he's been in this tag team with Rowan, but it's he hasn't been doing anything with it. It's he hasn't been doing anything with his team with Rowan. He hasn't been doing anything with this gimmick. He hasn't been doing anything with the titles. He only had one title defense, at Stomping, which was Stomping Grounds, and that was it. He should be one of the top heels, but it's he's just stuck in a tag team. So New Day won the match, but it's they got attacked by Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, which led to Heavy Machinery saving them, and it went into an 8-man tag team match after that, which was pretty unnecessary. It's it was pretty much just a show to get Heavy Machinery another their win back. They hit the compactor on Sami Zayn after Kevin Owens left him, so I guess they're probably gonna address that on Monday or Tuesday, but I don't know. It's I felt that match was kind of unnecessary. Next, we had Miz versus Elias. Miz wanted another match with Shane McMahon. So, but if Miz won this 2 out of 3 falls match, he would get another match with Shane. But with his match with Roman Reigns, or with the match with Roman Reigns at Stomping Grounds, Shane kept constantly interfering. It's why aren't they? Oh yeah, that's right. Shane's in charge, so they can't do anything. It's duh. So pretty much, it's Shane kept constantly interfering because no one can stop him. They can't kick him out, or else they would get fired. So Shane kept abusing his power, and it's Elias got the first fall, thanks to Shane's interference, allowing Elias to hit Drift away. Then, as Miz was about to pin Elias after hitting a skull-crushing finale, Miz got the second fall anyway because Shane McMahon attacked him, but it was all for naught anyway because he was too beat up by The Miz and Shane McMahon because Shane hit a spear to mock Roman Reigns. Then Elias hit a top rope elbow to win the match, preventing Miz from getting a match with Shane McMahon. But to add insult to injury, Shane McMahon hit coast to coast on The Miz, further burying The Miz and everyone else in that locker room because Shane Old Crap is still on TV. And he still can't get the hell off of it. Next, we had Bayley versus Nikki Cross. If Nikki Cross won, she would get Alexa Bliss a title shot at Extreme Rules. For some odd reason, Bayley was the heel in this match, and Nikki Cross was the babyface. So, I mean, I don't know how that makes sense, but it was there. So Nikki Cross won that match, and then she got the title shot for Alexa Bliss. And like I said, I hope that Alexa Bliss doesn't turn on Nikki Cross, or it's the other way around. I want them to stay as a tag team for at least a little longer so they can challenge the Moronics. And regarding the match for Extreme Rules, I don't think it has better stipulation than that kendo stick on a pole, because that was god awful. Ember Moon versus Sonya Deville. Moving on. Kofi Kingston versus Dolph Ziggler. Now, this is the match that they should have had, like, the level of effort at least, at both Super Showdown and Stomping Grounds. I mean, I feel this is like the second, although I wish they should have done something a little bit different with the stipulation, because if this is what they're going to do, like, during commercial breaks, like, to help offset commercial breaks, then it's not a good strategy. But anyway, it was like, there was a lot, like, the falls were really interesting, like, the falls were really interesting, and the near falls started to pick up, and then, in the end, Kofi Kingston prevented Dolph Ziggler from getting into the WWE title match at Extreme Rules. But other than that, this is just an uneventful show. Like, the tag team opener extended way too long because it got stretched into an 8-man tag. Like, the Kofi Ziggler and the Nikki Alexa angle, like the Kofi Ziggler match at least, it's like, were the only two highlights for me. But both Raw and SmackDown this week, it just continued to show that the stupid wildcard rule needs to go away. It just affects so many people, like so many wrestlers in the back, because like 80% of the roster, more than that, continue to go unused. It's like it's like 2011 to 2016 all over again. It's like when the rosters were merged together. It's like when the first brand extension ended. It's like, no, it's like the same 15 superstars every week. It's like nobody else could get TV time. It's like the only TV time you can get is chasing the 24/7 title, and that's pretty much everyone from catering. But it's like I said, like a couple weeks ago, the wild card rule practically stripped away both a lot of the roster's opportunities and their happiness in favor to get Roman Reigns and other big stars more unnecessary exposure on both shows just to please both NBC and Fox executives. However, the thing is, you need to actually develop all the new all the other wrestlers. It's like, that's why your shows are failing. No wonder why people want to not only leave, but the ratings are very low. Fans are not attending shows. Look at the attendance this week. Raw in Everett, Washington was 3,500 people. That's like one of the lowest in years. SmackDown, while sites don't have the official count, the Moda Center, the Portland Trailblazers Arena, the pictures that were shown, looked like a very, very low attendance, if not worse than Raw's this week. It's like, how can you defend this? Like, how can people defend this? It's not on the wrestling. It's Vince screwing things up. And yet, people like Seth Rollins want to defend this show. He can more on that later. I keep telling you all, Vince needs to get his head out of his ass and stay away from writing these shows, because this is what the theme is today. What can go wrong will go wrong. Vince is making the WWE an accident waiting to happen. And he's been proving that for the past 3 years now. And it's getting worse by each show. But, I don't know. It's like, who knows if change will come. Oh, maybe it can, because of some breaking news we got earlier today. So earlier today, we got some news from Sports Illustrated that Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman will be the executive directors for both Raw and SmackDown. So I guess that means that they're going to oversee the creative processes for both shows. Paul Heyman, who is expected to continue being Brock Lesnar's on-screen advisor, will run Raw, while Bischoff will lead SmackDown. Pro Wrestling Insider noted that the deal with Heyman was pursued as early as February. Wow, they really wanted to lock this down. While Bischoff, who was given the deal a few weeks ago, will be working directly with Fox. Well, that makes sense because SmackDown is moving there in October, and you want to have that thing locked down. And by the way, I don't trust Dave Meltzer as a source, but he mentions something along the lines of Fox spending around $4 million to promote SmackDown. It's like, wow. Like every time they promote SmackDown, it's insane. However, there's a couple of catches here. Even though this might be a swell move. They're gonna have to report directly to Vince McMahon, obviously, and their roles will be similar to Triple H in NXT. So I guess they're just gonna oversee like the processes, but like it's still Vince McMahon's company, and well, I don't know if Vince has the final say in it or something like that. I don't know. Well, let's look at this, shall we? So I guess with like similar to Triple H, I get like either Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman are allowed to run SmackDown and Raw freely, like they're allowed to make the show as they please, or they're allowed to write the script, but Vince McMahon has the final say on it, which would be the bad scenario. I don't know. I think the best thing would be is that as long as Vince McMahon does, like, he lets Bischoff and Heyman do what they want without Vince getting in the way. For example, no pooper scooper jokes, no Shane old crap, at least after Extreme Rules. Like, developing stars their way. It could work out. It could work out. It's like, we don't know if this will be an instant success. I mean, at least we don't know. We've seen Paul Heyman do it, like, to at least have some decent success. Eric Bischoff had some success in WCW, not so much with TNA. But we'll see. We'll see. And they're probably going to have to, like, for now at least, they're going to have to write around Shane's push and Baron Corbin, Lacey Evans pushes until at least Extreme Rules, and then once that's done, they can rebuild Raw and SmackDown, built to develop like unused stars, so they can have a much stronger SummerSlam and a much better future moving forward, especially with SmackDown moving to a big network like Fox. And yeah, I think this could work out fine if Vince doesn't get in the way. So that's my say on that, but that's pretty much it. Now, let me talk a little bit about Fyter Fest briefly, because it's free on Bleacher Report Live this weekend. Free! No money! And I guess no catches, too. However, I'm not expecting too much from the event because, like I said, I don't know anybody except for Jon Moxley. I mean, obviously, except Kenny Omega, the Cody Rhodes, and that's pretty much it. But, I mean, the only match I'm excited for is Jon Moxley's debut match, which is an unsanctioned match against this dude named Joey Janela. But yeah, that's pretty much all I'm excited for. I will say this about AEW and Fyter Fest: just continue to do what you're doing, not focus on how to compete with WWE right now, because it's like you already have like moving after Fyter Fest, you have 2 events like that it's gonna go head to head with WWE. The Evolve event going up against Fyter Fest, which is gonna contribute. This is gonna be a show dedicated to, like, I guess, like victims of domestic violence. I think that's what it is. And then you have All Out in August, which is gonna go up against NXT UK Takeover. Then after that, there's gonna be no shows until the weekly TV shows start in October when SmackDown moves to Fox. But all I'm saying is just AEW needs to focus on like being themselves, being unique, not so much on taking jabs at WWE. I mean, yeah, it generates interest on the internet, but it doesn't help you as a business. It's like, just focus on your product, focus on the wrestling, and just prove the world that you're here to belong. So now, to end things off, I want to talk about Seth Rollins, because for the past, like, this past week, he's been like going at it on Twitter with fans, with various wrestlers, and he's been defending the current state of WWE. So he started it off by saying that, like, to promote Stomping Grounds, he called the WWE the best pro wrestling on the planet. And then he continued the charade with he rightfully praised the Cruiserweight title match. But then he called out Cage Side Seats, who like slept on Rollins, saying that this is the best pro wrestling on the planet. But then it really peaked when he called out Will Ospreay. I guess he's the New Japan, one of the New Japan Pro Wrestling champions. And then he claimed that Ricochet was a better champion, like a better version of him. And it's like he kept going. It's like when a fan told him to tone it down, he instead amped it up. He claimed it's time to let the idiots with no clue and talk poorly about the place I dedicate my life to every hour of the day. He then blasted Wade Keller, Pro Wrestling Torch, for calling him out on his Baron Corbin heel content, because it's true. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna talk over my phone, random ass callers. Yeah, shut up. So pretty much, it's like Seth Rollins is a babyface, yet he's acting like a heel on Twitter. I understand that kayfabe is broken and all that, but it's like, you need to live up to your character, not break it, man. Then, what was my biggest takeaway was calling out Jon Moxley, or his good friend Dean Ambrose. He still has mutual respect for him, which is fine. He wasn't happy with how Dean Ambrose departed and the comments he made against WWE. He said, as much as Ambrose put his heart out into the WWE, in Steve Austin lame terms, He took his ball and went elsewhere because he couldn't handle the rigors and pressures of WWE. Rollins then decided to bash his good friend for going on Chris Jericho's podcast for talking down about the company that gave him many opportunities. Now, Seth, I know you can't say your company sucks. I know you have to be the white knight that you have to be for your company. And I know you can't say, like, things that you can't give, like, criticisms, like helpful criticisms to help improve the company. But come on, man. You handled this in so many wrong ways. It's like, it's one thing to stand up for your company, yeah, it's like, oh, he's talking trash about my company, I'm gonna say this. But it's like, you're doing it in the wrong way. For example, you stoop to taking, like, shots at Ospreay's height. He, like, even went personal by going at his bank account and, like, more professional manner, his match count. As one of the top baby faces of the company, it's like you're contradicting your own role, like your own, like, defined role. It's like if you were still the heel Rollins that I knew in 2014, it would have made perfect sense. It's like, oh, he's bashing this person. It's like, ha 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 ha. But it's like, this is not the Rollins that you are today. So you're contradicting yourself here. And how are you supposed to be a locker room leader and a rallying general when you're throwing petty shots and petty insults like your girlfriend is doing? And which, at this point, she's toned down, by the way. And I'm not trying to bash you or anyone out there, like, as an individual. Not only as an individual, but for your wrestling ability, or for Becky's wrestling ability, or for Roman Reigns' wrestling ability, or anybody's wrestling ability for that regard. A lot of the people in the back, if given the opportunity, they have a chance to go out and put out a great match. Again, if given the opportunity. But what is happening right now? Vince McMahon is not giving them that opportunity. Why? Because of the stupid wild card rule. And that is something that you will not address, Becky Lynch will not address, Roman Reigns will not address, and certain as hell that Vince McMahon will not address. Nobody in that locker room, front office, corporate office, or what have you, will not address that the booking, the creative, or any stupid, like, writing decision that Vince McMahon or anyone without a brain is doing. Like, they're messing up the creative system in that company. So, what are you doing, Mr. Don't Buy In, Sell Out? It's like your product is complete AIDS right now. It's like the creative process, the booking of everybody involved, including you and Miss Stale Man, Becky Lynch. It's complete butt cheeks because Vince McMahon has as bad of a modern day wrestling mind as James Dolan of the New York Knicks has as bad of a vision of building a basketball team. Yeah, here you are, still bashing not just us people behind our soapboxes, on our computers, ranting on our microphones. You're bashing other people too, like your other good friends as well, in the business. And you're doing it in all the wrong ways. 6 ways to Sunday. I still respect you as a wrestler, but I don't know. You've completely sold out. Like, it's like you're just another one of Vince McMahon's white knights. And this goes to every one of you whoever. Yeah, this goes out to any one of you white knight in the WWE, whether you're in the WWE or as a fan of WWE. anyone that thinks that I'm being too hard, too negative, too critical, I've been a fan for 10 years, okay? And in those short, that may be a little too short or a little too long or whatever you have been. And that phone needs to shut the hell up. I've been positive. There are some things that I've been positive about. There's actually been a lot of things I've been positive about. And a lot of the things I've been blindly positive about. I've white knighted the WWE. I've white knighted that pro wrestling is real. But am I not allowed to criticize it? Am I not allowed to criticize its shortcomings? Hell no. Hell no. I can say what I please. If you don't like it, don't watch it. That's what most people say. Okay. Thank you. Next argument, please. I watch wrestling because I love it. I've loved it since I was 10 years old. And I continue to love it to this day. Even when the WWE is still shit and AEW is on the horizon. But even when AEW is still finding its footing, I want the WWE to improve. I want it to get back on its feet. This is why, not just me, but so many other people out there, you're going to find a lot of worse people, like, criticizing the WWE. You'll find, like, people bashing hard, hating on the company. I'm just here, like, calm, collective, and giving helpful criticism to the WWE. And I just want it to be where, well, it's obviously not going to be where it was before, but at least be better than what it is now. Like, I want it to get it out of its funk. And to those people that are telling me, if you don't like it, don't watch it. Go watch something else. All right, what is there to watch? What's there to watch right now? Tell me. Like, if you're watching this live stream, if you're watching this live, tell me in the chat. What's there to watch right now that's interesting? Tell me if you're watching the replay. Tell me in the comments and below. What is there interesting to watch right now? All the sports have ended. The NBA is over. The NBA season has ended. My 49ers don't play until September. Pretty much the NFL season doesn't begin until September. Like I said, the NBA doesn't begin until October. AEW doesn't officially start until October with their weekly shows. Baseball is a very boring sport. Again, there's no other sports to watch unless you want to watch professional hacky sack tossing. There's America's Got Talent with Simon Cowell bashing the shit out of everybody, but that only comes on once a week. Damn it! There's nothing to watch right now there is nothing to watch aside from Family Feud with Steve Harvey. That is the only thing that I can find interesting to watch. And you people out here are saying, don't like it, don't watch it. When I just want this company to get back on its feet. So I can say whatever the hell I want. So why don't you fans go back, try to do what you have to do to get back to where WWE was before it sucked by not watching, or go back to watching whatever it is you're watching. And I'm going to go back to do what I'm doing my way. And that is watching it semi-weekly occasionally, checking out the highlights, checking out the news, checking out what's going on, like rumor-wise, because I love professional wrestling. I want it to thrive. I want the WWE to thrive. I want AEW to thrive. And I want it to thrive. So, the WWE just needs to rebuild. They need to get back up. And that's all I want to say. Before I end this episode of Dylan Lasagna Live, I forgot to talk about the MLP videos. I'm gonna start deleting them soon, like slowly. I'm giving all of you a chance to download them however you may please. This is like, I'm giving you all like a grace period. Like, even though I said it was gonna be like they'll all be gone like slowly but surely, and that MLP like update video, like that goodbye MLP videos thingy. I will say that this is like a grace period. Like the videos that are still there, it's like, consider it a grace period. It's like a grace period for the videos, because like, you know, I want to give you all a chance to like download it, and if you want to re-upload it, then that's fine with me, but just give me proper credit that I uploaded it. And I'm gonna link to the chat the goodbye video, that in case you haven't watched it yet. So there's that. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Yeah, there's a lot of WWE talk that I wanted to get off my chest. Fyter Fest is this Saturday. Again, I have no expectations for that. And again, I just want Seth Rollins to stop white knighting to the death. I mean, yes, like, he does work for the WWE, but like, come on, stop being so damn public. Stop white knighting so publicly about the WWE. Like you need to, like, if you want WWE to improve, go talk to Vince McMahon. Like, tell him that this needs to improve. This needs to improve, like, ASAP. And who knows what will happen with Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff at the helm. And whether that starts Monday, Tuesday, or after Extreme Rules, after SummerSlam, or when SmackDown was the Fox, who knows? Who knows? But anyway, that's it for this week's episode of Dylan Lasagna Live. Make sure you hit the like button or hit the dislike button, whatever you may feel like doing. Leave a comment down below, sharing your thoughts about this week's topics. Make sure you also hit subscribe. Tap the bell for notifications if you want to be notified about every video. Follow me on Twitter or Instagram if you would like. And always be delicious. I'll see you all next week for next week's episode of Dylan Lasagna Live. And I'm out.